Welcome to the channel. Join us on this journey of self-discovery and transformation as we unlock the secrets of the universe and empower you to manifest abundance, love, success, and fulfillment in every aspect of your life.
One of the things I've come to know is that everything that you have to deal with, every problem that you face, every struggle you have to overcome, whatever it might be, as the Tao teaches, it has good fortune, is hidden in all misfortune. You have to know that. And that the way that the deal works is that nothing sustains itself the same, so that every storm that shows up in your life, every storm that shows up in the world, has calmness hidden within it, and has a drought hidden within it as well. And it's the way of things. The only constant is the Tao. But the problem with the Tao is, as it says in the first chapter, is that the Tao that can be named is not the Tao. So you can't talk about it. You have to just experience it. You have to go within and come to know that there is a constant, there is an energy, there is a force from which all things originate, including you. This is just my experience. But you get these things are happening to you now, even being here, even something I might have said or something, whatever it might be already. Somebody here who didn't even know they were going to be here this morning and still don't even know who I am. And you may be wondering, what am I doing here? And when are you going to get to the point? And what's the you-know-what? Then the point is you're here, and there's no accidents in this universe. There's an organizing intelligence that's supporting everything. The whole thing is all held together. That same force that's beating every heart in this room is holding the planet in alignment with all the rest of them, and then opening the flowers and closing them and providing us with the trees and the food. And it's like the whole thing that's all been done. But before I do, what I want to do is create a place. And this is something I really want you to think about. I want you to create a sacred place in your home, in your bedroom, wherever it might be, in your office, in your garage. It doesn't make any difference. And you don't need to have, you can live in a one-bedroom apartment and do this. And in this sacred place, I'd like you to put your energy into it. I have a place like this on Maui, and it's a place that I revere. It's just a little dining room, but in it, it has everything that has sacred value to me in it. Books that people have sent me, photographs, crystals that people have offered to me in the way. There's a lot. I had 4 different drawings of Lao Tzu, and I had them framed 8 by 10, and I have them right there as I look at them, along with one of Sai Baba, my teacher, who comes and visits me and my soul and my dream and my heart, and has the gift of fish and loaves on this planet. Today we'll be celebrating his 80th birthday in 2 weeks. And there's this person who has this gift of fish and loaves as manifested for me, a Ziploc bag, a quart bag, like the kind you take on the airline's trip, filled with the beauty of my answer to the airlines, and not taking shampoo on a plane is right here. I want you to know. So in this sacred space where I light a candle every morning, in fact, I light 3 candles, one to Ralph Waldo Emerson, whose 8 by 10 photograph is in front of me, and one to Sai Baba. And they are there. And it may sound silly what happens as I walk by this sacred spot in my home where I do this writing with all of these things that are in it. As I walk by, I get up at 3 hours in the morning. As you know, if you watch the PBS show between 3 and 4 every morning, and in that quiet time when you're closest to God, there's again, Rumi said, that breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Do not go back to sleep. Do not go back to sleep. You're all awakened between 3 and 4, virtually every one of you, that wake-up call. It's not an accident. It's a universal human experience. It's the quietest time. It's the time when there's the least distractions. God's one and only voice is silence in silence, that place where you can be connected. And as you get up and fill your body with the supplements that you take, with the antioxidant drinks that you take, with whatever it is, the nanograins that I drink, and all of the things that I fill myself with in the morning, with this healthy, wonderful feeling of good things going through my body, not coffee, not cigarettes, not poisons, but, really life-affirming food. And as you walk by this place with the candles burning and so on, it will draw you into it. It will draw you there. You feel as if you have to enter this space, whatever it might be, your sacred space. And when you sit down in that space in the middle of the night and allow yourself to know that what you are here for is now going to be made manifest for you, you begin to allow it to come through you. Now, come on. Everything is channeled. God writes all the books and builds all the bridges. I mean, who do you think is delivering this talk? This is just runaway India. This isn't me. This is like these words that are coming here from where? Where are they coming from? Who owns these words that come here and go into this little thing that I'm holding in my hand and titillate the stapes in your ear so that you can hear these vibrations? We don't own any of this stuff. This isn't mine. I don't get any of this. I get the royalties, but it's not. It's like you begin to realize that you can be used as an instrument, as a vessel for anything. And when you get your ego out of it, and that's what Lao Tzu teaches more than anything else about leadership, particularly, and this is that the great leaders emulate the ocean. And what is the ocean but the greatest source of power on the planet? And why is the ocean the greatest source of power on the planet? Because it stays low. All of the rivers and all of the streams are all in work at flowing toward the ocean. It all flows back, and it flows back because the ocean doesn't laud itself over anyone. It practices radical humility. It stays low. It interferes. Not at all. It just allows. It allows everything non-interfering is probably the basis of the DA. And we need to have an awareness of this in our leaders, the eventually leadership, political leaders, community leaders, business leaders. When we have enough of us, and I'm doing a weekend seminar on Living the Door, inviting people from all over the planet to come to Maui next October and to be there for a way of living the dialogue and putting it into practice everywhere in our lives. When you think like that, and the Tao doesn't teach you to think big things, it teaches you to think small. Thinking big is a mistake, according to the DA, because when you think big, you can't get big things done. We can only do things in this moment. So it teaches us to be in this moment. It says you can get anywhere from here, you can get anywhere from here. The key is you have to be here. You have to totally be here so that anything big that you want to do, you go through what you have to go through, even the torturous things that you have to go through in order to be able to give. Because the most important thing that you can learn, according to Laozi to you, is that when you are at one with what is called the hidden virtue, which is the hidden godliness, kindness, goodness, love that is in you and what you came from, when you are in harmony with that, all of your life is about giving. When you are not in harmony with the hidden virtue, all of your life is about getting. So you make the shift from getting what's in it. For me, how much am I going to make? How well am I going to do? What does my ego say to how may I serve? What may I give? How can I do it? And if I had a thought 19 years ago that I was going to not be able to have another beer for 19 years, it's too big. It's too big. You can't even do that. You can't not drink 19 years. You can only not drink now. And that's easy. So you don't even, if you've got a great big project and you bring yourself down to what can we do here now, today? And that's what you do. What you can be here now, which is what all of nature knows to do. Every raccoon knows this. Every bat knows this. She says to pray it is so necessary and so hard. Hard not because it requires intellect or knowledge or a big vocabulary or special techniques, but because it requires of us humility. And that comes, she said, I think from a profound sense of one's brokenness and one's need, not the need that comes and causes us to cry, get me out of this trouble quick, please God, but to the need that one feels every day of one's life, even though one does not acknowledge it, to be related it to something bigger than oneself. It comes out of our brokenness, the need to be related to something bigger than our puny little egos, which convince us that who we are is our stuff and our accumulations and our achievements and reputations. It's like we know that we need more than our stuff and our approval and our awards and our reputations to be connected. And that's a sense of brokenness, broken from spirit, broken from the return trip. Tao is the way of return. It's returning to the place from which we started and know it for the first time. And she says, but the need that one feels every day of one's life, even though one does not acknowledge it, to be related to something bigger than oneself, something more alive than oneself, something older and something not yet born that will endure through time. That was Lillian Smith writing in the introduction to the journey, that out of this need to overcome this brokenness comes the afternoon of our life. Comes this time when we say my connection to God, to source, to Tao, to universal mind, to spirit, to that from which I originated from, which I can never be disconnected, which is who and what I am. And the biggest surprise that you've ever had, you can be in more than one place at the same time. You can manifest whatever it is that you need. It'll just be there, and it'll be too weird for you, but it'll just be there. It is when you get in the presence or when you yourself enter God realization. That's what I'm calling the afternoon of our life. Generally speaking, it takes place somewhere between the ages of 31 and 44 or 45, generally, very generally speaking. But by and large, in the morning of our life, learn you from the people around you who are doing their absolute best to raise you to be good citizens, very likely mothers and fathers and grandparents and cultures and the church organizations and all the things. But most of it is designed to get you to fit in, to be a good person, to be a good family member, to follow the rules, to get good grades, to save for the future, to put your money away, to make sure that nobody steals your money from you, to have goals, to get through this class and that class, to get through this degree and that degree, to graduate, to get it to a certain job, to do whatever it takes on the job in order to get yourself a promotion. All of it being organized around or getting more attracting as much as you possibly can get. It's about getting, and it's about pleasing, and it's about fitting in, all of which are non-doubt principles. All three of those are total non-real friends, but that doesn't matter. It's not about the now when you're getting in the morning of your life and then something happens. What I call a quantum shift takes place and you move into something called the afternoon of your life or the evening of your life. And here, your values, your desires, what it is that is important to you have done a complete radical shift. It's no longer that important thing for you to be a good family member. It's no longer the most important thing for you to please your parents. It's no longer the most important thing for you to save for the future, to get good grades, or even to get a good house. How you begin to feel a sense of connectedness to everything and everyone from a distance. You look at this planet and you think, how could anything on here be fighting each other? We're all breathing the same air. We all came from the same place. How could there possibly be enemies? When you look at it from that, there's an interconnectedness. That's why I've often said that it makes about as much sense to have a smoking section in a restaurant as it does to have a peeing section in a swimming pool. You know, it's just, no. You don't pee over there. You don't care over there. That's not a peeing section. Over here is where you pee. Sounds a little crazy to me. Now you have to step inside to get a breath of fresh air. A breath of fresh air. Yeah, I saw that. Right. So we start in the afternoon of our life. There is a shift, and the shift is usually preceded. Not always, but it can be. And I invite you to open yourself to the possibility that you can write and invite in a quantum shift. And I'll describe it for you in just a moment. And as you get to one of these quantum shifts in your life, things that were so important to you in the morning of your life no longer are important. And I suggest that most people who would attend a conference such as this here in this beautiful place on these beautiful days and sit and listen to speakers from all over the world come and talk to you about it, that virtually everyone in this room is moving into or has moved into something called the afternoon of your life, in which the general priorities of your life, what you expect out of it, what you expect to do while you're here, have shifted, and it no longer satisfies you. It no fulfills you to live the afternoon of your life by the rules that you learned in the morning of your life. Here's what Jung said about all of this. Thoroughly unprepared, we take the step into the afternoon of life. Worse still, we take this step with the false presupposition that our truths and our ideas will serve us as hitherto. But we cannot live the afternoon of life according to the program of life's morning, for what was great in the morning will be little at evening, and what in the morning was true will at evening have become a lie. It's so dramatic and so powerful that you get to the place, whether it's in your relationships or your work or your family or your community or your country, you're living a lie.